Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and Kisma. I'm Nick, and today we're talking about how to move from chaos to calm.
Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and Kisma, bringing you ancient wisdom for modern day success so that you can have the mindset to get your life and business set.
As always, thank you for tuning in. And if you're new to the podcast, take a quick second to hit the subscribe button in iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. If you want to get the inside info for this and every episode, as well as some free gifts, go to illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. And now let's dive in to get your mindset for your life and business set. Hey there, Kisma.
Well, hello there, Nick.
It's a big day.
It's a big day. We're podcasting from home.
Our brand new studio here in the Mystics office.
In the Mystics office.
Yeah, we're all set up. It's so exciting. We have some new equipment.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to be able to sit down in this kind of comfort and record together.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun to be able to record from Common Grounds. You know, that's where my office was for the last, 3 years, 4 years.
I lost track of time. Yeah.
And we've recorded so many podcasts from there. And then, the quarantine hit, the place just became quiet. And we'll talk a little bit about how the whole house manifestation came where, as it goes, I hear this voice, you're going to do this now. And I tried to fight it a little bit. And then we did it. And we moved to a place that is big enough to have both of our businesses and our life. And here we are recording in your office.
Yeah. So, that's right. We used to record in your office. Yeah. So a little change here.
Yeah.
I think I was ready for the move a little bit earlier than you were. And it maybe took you you had to work through, you had to get to your process. I know that about you is like you just have to kind of come through your thing. But when you drop in, and I knew this would happen when you dropped in and I dropped in together, that is boom, it would be done. And that's exactly what happened.
It is what happened. Yeah. I think Nick was itching for some bigger space. And I was like, but I love our place. I'm very careful, this episode is being recorded after I led the Universal Laws Challenge, 7 Laws in 7 Days. And some of you maybe were in the challenge. And one of those big laws is the law of increase or praise. Like you gotta be grateful and gratitude for what you have. I'm not saying you weren't, but I am, I love pouring it on. And then I kept hearing, well, it's time to leave, time to leave your office, time to find a house, because we were in a condo. I'm like, okay, so my whole process is I start looking and I start just visualizing, we could be in a house like that. Do we want to buy? Do we want to rent? No, I think we're going to rent. Okay. And just sort of seeing it. And then I mentioned it to you and you got really excited and you started to over-potentialize it.
You had to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, you can't be looking on Zillow while I'm looking on Zillow.
Yeah. I don't know that I mean.
Yes.
Okay, well.
Yes.
Whatever. But I did. You
get excited. Your optimism driver.
I was super excited because I started looking to see what was possible for for what we were looking for, and I was like, wow, this is really amazing. This is an amazing upgrade for us. And I realized too that you just need your space to be in the manifestation. You did find this place too. You found both of the places that were on the thing. But I started to get really excited about it, and I just had to kind of keep it to myself a little bit.
Yeah, I had to tone him down. So and to be fair, I heard it and I waited, and that's where I start to feel all the pressure. It's in my body and my feels like, what's going on? And I didn't completely trust to go now. I had to give it a couple of weeks. So what happened is I was like, okay, let's go look at this house. I found this house and we went and we were like, this is really cool. We could do this. Like we saw ourselves in a neighborhood, not by the beach, which was a first big step. We saw ourselves in a neighborhood where we weren't walking distance to the village. That was another big step. And it was like, oh yeah, we can do this. And we were all in. in this house. And we told the realtor, great, what do we need to do? Here's the application form. Filled it out, but he didn't respond to me for 24 hours, which makes me crazy. And I'm like, okay, he's not, did we not?
That first place. Yeah, that's right.
Did we not get approved? Like, so now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, well, we've been in our place for 5-6 years. Like maybe there's a thing. So I remember going back onto Zillow and this other house popped up and I just messaged her. I was like, can I come look? She goes, I'm there today at 11. I was like, okay, I'll be over. Lovely, lovely realtor from Rental Experts, Diana, giving her a shout out. And, you know, in the front yard is this bamboo. And I walked in, I was like, oh, okay, you got me at the bamboo. I don't really care what's going on inside. There's bamboo. This is good. And then she was so lovely and she walked me through the house and I was like, oh, okay. Yep. This is really cool. An amazing back patio with all of these fruit trees and rose bushes. And then I said, well, what do we need to do? And she goes, well, fill out the application. If you put half the deposit down, we'll take it off the market for 72 hours. We are a first come, first serve company. I'm like, done. And then of course, when we got approved for that, the other guy's like, oh, you're approved. I'm like, dude, sorry. We found somewhere else.
Yeah. And I personally think this place is a little bit better. Like I would have been happy in either, but I'm really happy that we're here.
Yeah. It's a slightly different vibe and it's more our vibe. So
I got to say that was a super cool feeling to just feel like this is a win-win, you know, we can't lose in this situation. Like they're both amazing. And I'm just so excited, you know,
and just the way, because we're talking about calm and not to have chaos, the way that I utilized, and I was like, well, perhaps we're not getting that place, rather than getting agitated, which is why I really believe this place showed up, everyone, is I just kept saying, okay, universe, God, spirit, source, like whatever your words are, as good or better. If this isn't our place, which at that moment felt like it was, if this is not our place, as good or better, and thank you. And just like leaned out of it. Leaned out of it. No worry, no anxiety, as good or better. Let's go. And it was a little bit because I knew I was going to leave my office at the end of the month by August 1st. So I knew we wanted to find a place, but then I was like, it's going to be okay. And so that's the calm in the manifestation. It's a trust and it's an expectancy. It's an as good or better. And of course, following through and doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one of the things that I see most, and certainly a trap that I've gotten into and have to be mindful of for myself, is when you want to manifest something bigger in your life, you know, like a house, like where you're going to live is a bigger kind of decision. There's more money involved. There's, a lot of like, this is where you're going to set up your life. There's a lot involved. And so we can start to really go overboard on that. Like, Sikisma you were a little sensitive to my excitement around it.
I was over potentializing.
Whatever. I was excited. I was really ready and just really excited about the possibilities. And that's kind of how I get. But it wasn't like, it didn't come from an anxious place, right? It came from the space of like, wow, this is really exciting to create something and to have a space to create like that. But a lot of people get really into that forcing kind of willful state of the chaos when they want to manifest something. And really, if you think about it with the calm of just, well, I'm just going to the store to buy, some broccoli or an onion or something. Like if you kind of treat it with that level of interest and expectation, then you're pretty good to go. It's not like you go and obsess over all the broccoli and you get, really excited. You just go and you pick it off the shelf. You find the one that you like and you pick it off. And you also expect it that of course you will have the broccoli. It's not like a big question. Is it going to work out or is it not going to work out? It's like, no, you just go and buy broccoli.
It's from this great teaching of take what is yours in life, not take from other people, everyone, but take what is yours, expect it to be so. And the and to this, which is that nuanced place, is if that store is out of broccoli, you're not devastated. Oh, maybe tonight it's asparagus, but I'll get my broccoli. It's really interesting when we just, like you said, drop in life and stay calm, stay out of the chaos, and allow what it is we want to show up.
Yeah. Yeah, the allowing's kind of the big deal.
The allowing is big.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I look at this, it's a big thing to move, and it's such a great example and such a great teaching to see like, oh, it's actually really possible to have calm inside of yourself, no matter what the external circumstances.
Absolutely. And this first, as you know, we have 3 parts of this series to go from chaos to calm. And this one is really about understanding and embodying and trusting, everyone, that you have what it takes to create calm. You have it in the equipment of being a human being. And if we just go over that, it's like some of the basic teachings of the Vedanta philosophy, which is you have a body, you have a mind, and you have an intellect. And your body is this sacred vehicle. It's taking you around through life, etc. You have a mind, which per these teachings are your emotions. Now, this thing called the intellect, it's not intelligence, it's the driver, it's the guide. You could call it your engineer, your captain. It's the part of you that can say, hang on, do I want to be in absolute chaos right now? Or hang on, would I like to be calm? Because if I'd like to be calm, I can actually get there.
Yeah.
So it's that first step of the confidence that you can actually create it. I think people get into so much spinning and chaos, they forget what it's like to have a calm life because there's something about there's chaos, right? It gives it creates this energy force, and it's perceived energy that is moving you forward, but it isn't. It's like a stuck spiral or going down. And then the chaos is over and there's a low, and then you want chaos again to feel the rush of energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's something that people are, I think, just so used to having, right? And it's a pressurizer. So that's how people learn how to manifest is under pressure. And so when they don't have that necessarily, then oftentimes people start to not manifest. They start to stop on their goals. They start to get complacent in certain things. They start to, they start to just really slow down and not show up the way that they could.
Right.
Right. And so then it bounces back and forth between these 2 different poles. The one of like, hair's on fire, everything's falling apart, I got to do something, or I really need this to happen, so I got to go now. That kind of like hair on fire urgency versus like, oh, okay, things are cool for now. And then it's like, oh, just stop, right? No, like what the intellect allows you to do is to actually stay in that flow the whole time.
Yeah.
In a much more even way. It's not to say it's like a straight line everywhere you want to go. That's not what we're talking about. It is to say that there is a natural flow to things, and you're the captain. So you get to decide, and the intellect is what keeps you calm and cool throughout it.
Exactly. And this is not to say that the world stops being chaotic. It's that your perception and your ability to handle it brings you into calm.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that, because I hear that so many times. I just wish all these things around me would change. Like, just wish the world would calm down. And the world's not going to calm down.
Right.
Maybe it will, but
hopefully,
maybe.
Well, our world will, right? So it's the whole mirror thing. The calmer you are, the world is a mirror to you. So your external world, your immediate external world will calm down because you're more calm.
Yeah.
It's true. I'm just talking about the greater perspective of what goes on. So the first thing that I just wanted to focus on this series, on this episode of the series, is number 1, to understand that you have what it takes. Like, sometimes we just have to stop and say, wait a minute, I can do this, and have that confidence. Like, yes, you can. You have what it takes. And moving into just a couple of tips to shift into what I call the observing state. So the observing state is when you kind of lean out of all the stuff going on and you watch it. And then you get to ask, as I said, do I really want this? And when you ask yourself a question, your brain has to answer. Now, a way to practice, because you might say, oh, well, when everything's going on, like, how do I all of a sudden become the observer? The way to practice is every day practice being the observer. I like to just say, sit quietly, and just notice your body, notice your thoughts. Don't stop thinking. Don't think your thought flow is going to stop. Just notice it, become aware, become present. I mean, we use this word all the time, right? Yet it's truly the way you can cultivate the skills to be the observer. So you're going to observe. It's like, my shoulder's a little tight. And then maybe you start to take a couple of deeper breaths and you observe that. What's it feel like when you breathe with purpose? What does it feel like to give yourself 5 minutes of space? What does it feel like to tune in to your heart and to talk to God or talk to universe or talk to source and be like, you know what? Okay, there is an outside force that's willing to help me. Why don't I use that? Right? There's a different presence. It's a stillness. It's a quietude. Even if your mind isn't quiet, if your mind isn't still, you're just dropping in and allowing this presence and this observation of yourself, and you're not judging it. That's the important piece. You're just noticing.
Yeah, getting the judgment is a big deal.
Yeah, no judging.
It's so easy. Like, you just look at the chaos and you're like, oh, this is just a wreck, and judge it, or this is horrible, and all these things. And sometimes, people become just paralyzed in that mindset and paralyzed into inaction in the observing state. So they're watching it all go down, and then just like then they're in overwhelm and can't take action based on it. Calm will allow you to take action. And I think for one of my tips and something to really think about is, it's like slow is the new fast. We're rushing so often through things to actually like slow down, to take some breaths, like Kisma was saying, and to become very intentional with each of your actions, right? Whether that action is saying what needs to be said, or whether it's, doing a thing, or whether it's actually doing nothing, which is an action, which is, by the way, when things are chaotic, is actually a really appropriate action sometimes, is to just allow that to be for a minute and to decide not to do anything for a moment, Those things are really important. For me, what's been really working, you mentioned it, Kisma, it works great, is taking these breaks throughout the day. Mm-hmm. 15 minutes or so, I'll do a meditation process, or
right.
I'll do something like that allows me to hit the reset button.
That's a big reset.
Yeah. Because calm, at the end of the day, I would say for me, the most important thing for people to remember is that calm is a choice. It's not a magical thing that just suddenly happens because of a certain set of circumstances. It's a choice that you get to make whenever you decide to make it.
Right.
Calm is for you if you decide it's for you. And that's really all there is to it. It's how we set that up that becomes a skill in our lives.
Yeah. So you can choose calm. You have what it takes to be calm, and start with becoming that observer of self. Just for the next week, take 5 minutes a day and just sit, notice your breath, notice your thoughts, notice your body, and see what changes, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that something will change. There will be this essence about you where you're like, I'm not really stressed out. This is pretty cool. And with calm, we'll talk about this later, but with calm comes more energy.
Yes, it does. So important.
So important. So that's it for today. By the way, this episode is brought to you by a training that I have, which is called Calm the Chaos. It's an audio training, and it's available on our website when you go to illuminationpodcast.com. As well, you can go directly to kismaawake.com/calm-the-chaos. Until next time, we're sending you so much love, peace, and calm, and we'll see you on the second part of this series. Much love.
Peace.
Hey, thanks for jamming with us today. And if you enjoy Illumination Podcast, please go ahead and share it with someone you love. Give us a rating, review, download our podcast. And remember, you can find us at illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. Talk to you soon. Namaste.